As we told you at the top of the hour, Fairfax County Police have released dashcam video showing the shooting of a man by U.S. Park Police back in November. It also shows several minutes before the shooting, which killed Bijan Ghaisar. The entire video is 4.5 minutes long, but what we're about to show you has been edited down and may be upsetting to some of you. So we want to give you warning about that before we continue. Our Paul Wagner, he's just watched the video. He's live now in the newsroom with an update. And Paul, what did you see? What did you learn?
Sure, Maureen. Just over 4 minutes long, this video. It's a dash cam from a Fairfax County police officer who falls in behind the car, and then the U.S. Park Police come up. You can see in this video. What we know is that Bijan Ghaisar stopped 3 times, once on the Parkway, then a second time, and then the third time is a shooting. What you're about to see here is the first time that he comes to a stop. You see the U.S. Park Police officer get out of his car. Looks like he's holding a handgun. He then appears to break the glass or try to break the glass as Ghaisar then speeds off. That officer then gets back into the car. We can see this is just 2 U.S. Park Police officers in one car. Then there's a second stop here just off the Parkway. You can see the Park Police officers. They get out of their vehicle. They try to get Ghaisar to stop. This is the second time that he's stopped. Now they speed off again through the neighborhood. This is now where the shooting takes place. This is at Fort Hunt Road and Alexandria Avenue. You can see the U.S. Park Police officers pull in front of Ghaisar's car. We don't see what Ghaisar is doing at this point. We see the Park Police officer now out with his weapon, then a second Park Police officer out with his weapon, and then you can actually hear the shots being fired.
Fort Hunt Alexandria Avenue and Park Police is firing shots at this morning.
Now, there are 9 total shots that I counted being fired by the Park Police. There is a significant break from the first series of shots and then the second series of shots. You can see Ghaisar's car just kind of creeps up alongside the Park Police, and then more shots are fired, and then the car ends up in the ditch. When we got down to the scene and started taking video of the scene, we saw that car in the ditch, and no one explained to us how that car ended up there, but now we know. The shooting has been controversial from the very, very start, simply because the U.S. Park Police would not share any details whatsoever of what took place. What we know about what happened is really coming from the Fairfax County Police and Chief Ressler, who said that he wanted to release this video as soon as the FBI said it wasn't going to cause any trouble in their investigation. You may know that the U.S. Park Police asked the FBI to conduct an investigation, and what we know is the FBI is conducting an investigation, but the FBI has also not released any information in this case. It was just last week that Fox 5 obtained a copy of a police report of the accident that took place before all of this started. Now, you may recall that there was an accident on the George Washington Parkway just before Slater's Lane. And what we know now is that Bijan Ghaisar, and you can see he's here in the car to the right there, and then he takes off. He was hit from behind in a fender bender in which there were no injuries. The big question here is, why did Ghaisar take off? We know from talking to the driver of the striking vehicle in that accident. He's an Uber driver. I spoke to him on the phone. He declined to be recorded, but what he told me is that suddenly Ghaisar just stopped in the middle of the road at Slater's Lane, and then he took off unexpectedly. And at that point, it was after he had gone through the city of Alexandria and had gone onto the George Washington Parkway down in Fairfax County that the U.S. Park Police spotted his car and then began to follow him. There are so many questions in this case that we don't have. We don't know the Park Police's use of force policy or their chase policy. They are refusing to release those at this point. Maureen?
Real quick, because yes, this does open up a lot more questions than we had before. I'll ask you this. I know you're going to work on this throughout the day today. You'll get us the latest updates at 5, but only because we have very small televisions in here that we're trying to watch on, and I know you watched the entire video. Does it appear, as in the moments or the seconds before those shots were fired, anyone was in front of his vehicle? Was there any officer whose life appeared to be in danger at that point, as in from the vehicle, him driving off? Could he have struck an officer?
I'll have to watch it again, Steve, but no, it does not look like that to me, because Well, what you know is you saw in the video the park police actually pulled in front and blocked his vehicle.
Right.
Okay. I think there's some questions as to whether or not did Ghaisar possibly race his engine that may have put some fear into the officer who was getting out of the passenger side of the car. There's a question there. But then you saw he was just creeping along there before the shots were fired. And then after the shots were fired, the car then went into the ditch. So there's just so many questions here as to why those officers decided to open fire. And again, we don't know the names of those officers, and we don't know if those officers are still patrolling the streets. We did get a release from the family of, a release from the lawyers who are representing the family. I think we have that. Do we have that to put on the screen here? It says, no one was even close to being in harm's way until a pair of U.S. Park Police officers repeatedly shot Bijan at close range as he sat unarmed in his Jeep on a residential street. We don't know why the U.S. Park Police officers shot Bijan multiple times or whether those officers are still patrolling the area's parkways. We're going to, of course, follow this story. We know that the lawyers for the family are going to speak with us later today, and we'll have full details tonight at 5 and 6.
It's disturbing. Paul Wagner, thank you for staying on top of it. More questions certainly from this videotape. Okay, we'll be right back with more Good Day on the other side of the break.